All right, and welcome back, everybody, to Hour 2 of Lost Initiative. After a bunch of innocent, quote-unquote, druids have been killed, we all gather to celebrate their deaths. Continue, Scott.
Listen, I just keep saying innocent because I like pushing the narrative that Thonk is evil, but that doesn't necessarily mean Thonk is actually evil. He could be ridding the world of a plague. So, that's just me being funny. So, you guys, yeah, there we go. So after it's all said and done, and you see that when Otto kind of rushes out there, he's like, no, stop. And this one kind of like walks up, you're in my way, and hurls an axe at the guy. Now, one of the things that you notice is the axe got hurled at the guy. It's kind of close to you, Otto, as it whizzed by. Maybe coincidentally, because it went over your head. Maybe not so coincidentally. I don't know. And then the other two tried to kill the person that ran away, but as far as you guys can tell, they actually got away. So, I mean, hey, at least one got away. So with that all being said, he's pushing himself up. The leader of them is pushing himself up off the ground, and he's just like, what the hell was that? And he's like pushing himself up off the ground and looking around and with his weapon up in the air, looking around, ready to fight something. And he's just kind of like staring at everybody like, give me direction so I can kill this motherfucker. So he's searching and trying to find, but not seeing anything anywhere right now. Everybody else is kind of like, the sorceress just kind of gestures back towards the direction in general where the blast came from, but kind of looking over that way, nobody sees anything. And he just kind of like lets out a loud, like just furious that something like that would even happen to him. From somebody that doesn't exist. And so trying to kind of calm him down, just to play into, his mood, cheer him up a bit, the sorceress does turn back to the tree that it seemed to have come from and just hurls like another ball of fire over at the tree and just it explodes, and all the leaves above are either entirely incinerated or still burning, the branches burning. The tree's separate enough from the others, so you don't have to worry about like a forest fire or any garbage like that. But the tree is on fire as kind of Rye is starting to walk in from the shadows from a different direction.
I kind of comes in, and she's like almost out of breath. She's like, "Oh, there you are. I got lost in the woods. Looks like you've cleaned up pretty quick, though."
Hearing you say that, actually she was distracted while you were blasting, so everybody else is kind of either making their way to the chieftain or over to the rest of the crew. One or two of them just kind of like shake their head at you, but otherwise ignore it. I don't know about the rest of the party.
I don't say anything. I kind of just walk in, I'm not saying anything about it. Let's let Rye just kind of do her thing. He's not dead. Everybody else is dead. That's all that matters.
Yep. Okay, so just re-clicking everybody so I can see them. So yeah, the crew, the crew that you see are all kind of just like satisfied with what they did around them. They don't seem to be interested in looting. They don't seem to be interested in checking their pockets for anything. There's literally, now that they're all dead, one of them kind of goes over and grabs their food and grabs up some food off the ground and just kind of sits up next to a tree and starts eating the food. And others are just kind of like going about doing their own business like they were before and resharpening a weapon or whatever, except for the chieftain, who's just furious, makes his way over and he's like, "Thunk, did you not see what had happened? Did you not see who shot me?" He's just furious. The woman, however, and this is again this one right here, she had it kind of brings her attention over to Grauman, and she says to him, she's like, "You, sir, you are quite the fighter. I've heard stories from the lands that I come from. I've heard stories about Olag, and so I can only imagine what Olag's seed would bring, and I see that it brings something great.
There
you are."
There's a moment where this guy's shouting at me, and then the name Olag, as soon as Olag has spoke, Thonk's ears perk, and he just like turns his attention, just completely breaking from it, and say, "Where do you know that name?"
Olag? Olag is spoken amongst many orc tribes. He's...
Dead. A long time ago dead.
I'm aware of that. And she says, like, very upset about it. She's like, I'm aware of that. So you can see that she's maybe a couple years older than you, but not much at all. She's like, I came searching for Olag because I wanted to take his seed back to my tribe and found him dead. And so finally, after much searching, I've come across Olag's spawn, and I wish to take Olag's seed back to my tribe. So back off. And
out of character, who the hell is Olag?
it's a really good question, Maggie.
Because I'm like, I am not Olag's seed.
So Thonk gestures to Grommen. You believe Grommen to be the son of Olag.
And with that, she says, belief not needed. And she reaches up and kind of grabs like Grommen's like huge bicep. And she's like, this beautiful specimen orc is clearly Olag's seed.
God, I wish I was Otto and not Thonk right now.
I'm a little confused, but like because she's kind of cute and he's kind of like she's like complimenting him. He flexes a little bit more.
Oh, she's thinking like, oof.
God, I wish I had the personality of Otto right now. So bad.
Otto is far too taken aback and horrified still by the killing of innocents to really respond to this in any way. He's still looking around at the battlefield.
Thonk will kind of step forward.
1 second. Yeah. In character, does Grommen know who Olag is?
Grommen does not have a single
okay, good. All right, just want to make sure.
Thonk will step forward and be like, and just look this woman in the eye and say, I am the son of Olag.
She looks at you like you're confused.
I just look at her stoically.
She's like, no, you are mistaken. You are wrong.
I am not mistaken.
Olag's seed is pure seed, pure orc.
What?
Make big specimen. You can barely even handle a mace.
He stares at her in the eye for a little while, and then takes a step away and says, "You believe what you will, but he was my father."
She turning to Grommen gestures to Thonk and again in just disbelief, and it just is like this Thonk Thonk is a spread word of Grumsh. Olag embodies Grumsh.
Olag was a tool of Grumsh.
Oh.
And to that, like, you can see, like, her head perks up and, like, her eyes go towards you. Like, how dare you speak of this hero that she knew of growing up? And she literally traveled many miles to meet with him. And she's like, what? Reaction. And so she immediately reaches for her curved short sword. She immediately reaches for it to go attack. And as she does so, the chieftain orc kind of puts his hand on her wrist and shoves it the sword back down so hard that she's like knocked back a step or two, and he's like, shut up, woman, the men need to speak, and and goes to walk off with Thonk to speak to him.
I'll follow.
Does Grommen react to that?
I guess Grommen will follow.
So you just follow them, or like
yeah, but Grommen's also very confused right now.
Grommen was about to get some.
This is just a natural state of Grommen. So the Rye, probably happy that everybody just seems to be ignoring her, just kind of like walks in and is like, "Oh, look at this dead," and Addo is staring around still in disbelief, maybe making his way over to Rye to be like, like, what the hell happened here? And
I kind of notices that like Addo's not doing so hot, and she like just reaches out and like grabs his hand.
Okay.
Like
so the three of you kind of go walking off, and as you go walking off, the chieftain kind of stops and looks at Grommen like what the hell are you doing here? But then immediately as like Grommen like realizes this, and he just kind of like you can see like his expression softens a little bit. And then looks over at Thonk like a look that says, "Is it okay that?"
Yeah, and I give it like a very subtle like reassuring nod.
And he just kind of like mocks that nod, like nodding along with you, and then just turns and takes a few more steps away from the crowd. Nothing crazy. You guys are like maybe 25, 30 feet away. And so he says, Thunk, was there another in the woods? Do I need to go hunt some more? Are there more of these traitors about?
All I know is the blast came from the direction of your sorceress.
Of my sorceress.
In that direction.
Did anybody else see this happen?
I just did a Grommen.
Grommen agrees that it came from that direction.
I just did a Grommen. I was gonna say, was too encompassed by battle to see much.
Do me this. Speak to Grumsh. Tell me what Grumsh's direction is. And with that, he'll kind of like turn and like walk away to give you your space for a moment as you immediately speak to Grumsh.
Okay, you want me to cast Augury?
I mean, if you choose to.
Is that what you're looking for, or are you looking for me to say a
you
prayer?
You can cast Augury if you actually want to speak to Grumsh, or you can just be like, "Yep, talk to him."
Just lie.
It's all you.
No, I know Grummish well. I don't need to cast Augury. Fuck that shit. This is the orc god of blood and chaos. I will say a prayer. Like, I'm not feigning prayer or anything like that. I do say prayer, a quick one to myself before returning with an answer. And
I was gonna say Grommen like tries to if you were gonna do like a little prayer thing, Grommen's gonna like try to do it with you.
oh yeah, go for it. I will.
Really know what he's
I will
doing.
definitely allow you to do the prayer with me.
He hands you the knife. Join me in prayer.
It's not like a morning prayer thing.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's only morning prayer.
All right. Look, I have a rigid schedule of when I cut my palm.
You have to do your bloodletting to balance your yellows and your reds.
I will walk to him and just simply say, after prayer, if you believe there's a traitor among you, then you know what to do.
And so he nods to that, and he goes back into the crowd, and without saying anything, everybody's kind of like in their own conversation. Again, to them, the fact that there was a combat and the fact that all these people are killed is just run of the mill for them. It's nothing to them. And so he goes over and doesn't say anything, just kind of goes up to her, kind of wielding his axe in his hand, raising it higher and higher. She's not really paying attention. She's doing her own little thing, like using magic to like roast a piece of meat and then eating it. Not eating orcs, like they're not freaky. So roasting like a piece of meat and then eating it. And as he gets closer, she kind of looks up like quizzically, and she's like, what's wrong? You know, kind of like a response to him, like really nervous. But at that point in time, it's too late, and he just swings down with his great sword and lobs her head right off of her shoulders. And as her head rolls, like with the same surprised look stuck on the face, he just kind of turns back at the others and says, "Grumsh's will." And the rest of them just kind of nod to him, like, Grumsh's will, with different degrees of convinced that that's the case. And they all just go about their business.
Wait, does Grommen know that spell came from Rye? It looked like Rye's spell, right?
You were, why don't you do me a favor, Maggie? You can roll me a perception. You're going to do disadvantage because you were raged at the time and very much involved in a staring contest. Well, there you go. Disadvantage. You did not notice that it was Rye's spell.
Okay.
So,
Then
luckily for Rye, that was
at all. I guess I'm like, whoa, that's a little aggressive, but other than that,
Rye is next to me at this point, right? And having already been taken aback a bit, I see this happen and
Jesus. These people are insane. So after that business is done, he walks, like he literally lobs off her head, and as it rolls away, he's like wipes his sword on like her back as it slumped forward, just wipes it on her clothing, sheathes his sword, and walks right back up to Thonk and says, "So you're heading back to the church?"
I nod.
He says, "Then are you going to speak with Glurunk, who is the orc that is completely in charge of the whole church?"
If he is available to do so, yes.
He says, you did well today. You give prayer for Grumsh before battle, and you serve Grumsh well. Perhaps on your way back, instead of Glaronk, you speak to Ugug. And as he says that, before you can even respond, he turns back around and goes back over to the woman slumped over and draws a dagger out from like one of his pockets and like lifts up part of her clothing and just starts peeling away some flesh from her. He just starts peeling flesh off, and he goes back over and he hands it to you. And what you can see is a brand that's on her. It seems like a the Eye of Grumsh symbol is not like a clean eye. It's like this mangled sort of thing or whatever. And the branding certainly mangles the flesh around it that mocks it in a way that's very similar. But the slit, the pupil of the eye looks like a spear. And so he hands you that hunk of flesh and he says, he'll know that you came from me.
I'll clasp the hunk of skin in my hand and put it in my bag.
Yeah, of course, it's great next to the perishables. So.
And I'll reach out to clasp his hand. And,
yep. I imagine you weren't holding hands the way that Ryan Otto just were.
No, not in a romantic, sensual way.
It wasn't romantic. It was consoling.
It was a forearm grab. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So yeah, and he takes your hand, and with that, I imagine you just kind of like, let's move out.
Yep.
And you guys do so. You're going to be able to continue making your trek through the mountains or into the mountains now and through the mountains to get there. But
is this group coming with us as well or no?
They're not. So they have their own business to take care of.
When we leave, the only thing I'll say before we go is that the one that was hitting on Grommen, I'll look to her before we go and I simply say, keep my father's name out of your mouth. And
she gives like a low guttural kind of like a growl to you at that, like, how dare you tell me what to do, with her hand on the hilt of her weapon.
Mm-hmm. I'll look ready to battle if she chooses to do so.
She's not taking an attack. She's already been scolded once by her leader.
Okay.
And she does look at Grommen like with somewhat like a confusion, but yet a hope at the same time, because she truly thought for a moment there that this was Olog's son. And so she was like, I finally found my lifelong quest. Yay! And then things just got confused. So she's like completely thrown off at the moment, but is not trying to close that door of Grommen being Olog's seed. As you guys are leaving, hearing noises, glancing back, you see that the glowing tree that was in the middle of the field, they are grabbing all of the corpses and just kind of hurling them over by that tree and cutting it down. And once the thing that kind of falls next to the corpses, they set it on fire. However, even though they do burn her body, they leave the sorceress's head on a spear sticking in the ground right next to it to make sure that people know that she was a traitor as well. And then you guys just kind of make your way there. How is it that you interact with one another trying to digest what just happened? I mean, poor Addo is
traumatized.
Grommen is first talking to Thonk about Olog and like asking him about it because he's very confused about that. I guess that would be a conversation for sure. I don't know what the timeline would be because I'm not sure what these guys are going to say, but sometime along the walk,
right,
he would like to discuss that.
Sure. I imagine Otto's situation is maybe a bit more pressing. So
yeah,
and then
traumatized.
Does Thonk think that Rye was the one that cast the spell?
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm a smart man.
I imagine those two things would be more
man.
pressing. So you take care of those, and we'll pull up a Maggie at the end. Go ahead.
I'm going to approach Thonk. So how many more innocents do we need to murder on our pilgrimage?
They were not innocent, Otto.
I mean, they were kind of groveling at our feet and begging for life.
They made their choice when they changed their faith.
Okay.
Add to it and say like, yeah, we thought, and he looks at Otto, and then he looks at you and he's like, we thought you say no kill leader.
No kill leader.
But then you say kill leader, and now I confuse.
Then you killed the leader.
Oh, there.
My plan wasn't to spare their pathetic lives. It was to have them fight them amongst themselves, and the survivor would walk away forgiven.
Grommen, no.
I'm just looking at Grommen.
Rye interjects, and she's like, kind of sucks that one of them got away, huh?
I'll look to you, and one of theirs was killed to spare your life, Rye.
I don't need any sparing, thank you.
Expected it. Looks like she was the one that got spared.
I love that the person who killed the most out of all of them got killed. Like, she murdered everything, and then she got wrecked. Like, what?
Yep. So then it seems like that pretty much all summed up itself. Otto's just kind of internalized his emotional duress.
The
Maggie,
last thing
ask
I'll
him.
say to Otto is that this is neither the first nor the last time this is going to happen, Otto. You best get used to it.
I'm just silent in response.
Thinking of like that Central Intelligence movie right now. It's like, are you out or you're in? I'm out. Well, you have to be in to be out. Ah. Gotta be in first. All right. So you, Maggie, you some time has passed, so it's a little less. I imagine you wouldn't just breathe right into that. I'm sorry.
But like during that conversation too, Grumman is like, wait, why someone died to spare Rye? He like doesn't understand what happened because he didn't see that, so he's very confused.
Rye attacked the chieftain without him looking.
He had it
Grumman
coming.
gives him a high five, or gives her a high five.
The chieftain needed
You did it without him noticing.
the chieftain needed somebody to blame and to kill. And instead of killing the one that did it, I directed him towards one of his own. And if he's too stupid to realize that, it's not my problem.
And Grumman realizes, he kind of starts putting two and two together and realizes what happened, and he's like, and then he like puts his hand down. And then he's like, but why? Why would he kill? And then he doesn't, he like kind of just keeps walking. And then the time passes, and he kind of looks over at Olaf, or as Olaf. At Thonk as they're like walking around, and he's like, so who Olag? Why she want his seed? What seed?
What seed? Oh man, we gotta have this conversation now. Tom takes on a whole new meaning.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to have
Oh
that.
man.
Mom, teach me about the
when an
birds.
orc mommy loves.
I'll look over to Grumman and just very simply say, Olag is my father. Was my father, more specifically.
Then why she no thank you, his son?
I look. I'll just kind of like gesture very vaguely to you. You have my father's build.
And then he kind of like looks at himself and he says, and he looks at you and he goes, oh.
Oh, it's funny. So yeah, if it's just kind of dropped there, you guys continue to make your travels through the mountains. Now, the travel through the mountains isn't like some easy road where you guys are all holding hands and skipping down a yellow brick road or anything. Not that was an easy road, but as you go up to the mountains, as you're traveling there, at one point in time, there's actually a bit of really bad weather. It's not that it's raining, but there's really bad wind as you're climbing up the mountain. So you end up taking quite a few hour break from the climb as the wind is whipping through there. Luckily for you, it's still late summertime, so you don't have to worry about being cold or freezing or anything, but it does make it a bit treacherous. The mountainous pass is something that Thonk knows well. If this was an area that he didn't know as well as he does, it could potentially be a greater danger than it is. So you travel along the mountainous pass. You come across a few areas with a few skirmishes here or there. Nothing worth rolling dice for. It's maybe a couple of goblins attack here or there. And you easily lay waste to them. Even Thonk's spells work. So you continue making your way until finally get to the area where you can see the temple itself. Now, the reason why most other races aren't aware of this temple is there's a bit of a drop. So there's a few mountainous peaks, and then there's a drop down into a valley. But it's not like it's a nice easy slope along a beautiful grassy field or meadow to get to where the actual temple is. It's a very treacherous rocky slope that's hard to get to, the few pits or chasms along the way. And when you finally get to like kind of like lining up the area to get to, even the area that you have to walk across to get to the temple is treacherous. It is known that orcs fall off the side of this to get to the temple or to leave the temple, but that's okay because when they fall down this pit, they fall immediately into Grumsh's realm to serve Grumsh. Now, mind you, they fall into his realm as the lowest ranking, lowest garbage, because if they can't even put one foot in front of the other, they don't deserve anything better than that. But they immediately fall into Grumsh's realm to serve him, is the belief of the orcs around here. This is the primary temple to Grumsh on the eastern reaches of, or at least the northeastern reaches of Faerun. So, and it is in Thesk, so this is also where most Theskian orcs get their faith from. So that's this sect of Grumsh's faith that's here. So you guys are able to make your way to it, once again, following Toe behind Thonk. I'm not going to make anybody make any rolls. Addo is nimble and his feet are small. Rai is extremely nimble, and Gromit is very adept at living in a mountainous region, walking through long periods of time in treacherous areas, and Thonk has made this trek many times. So this is I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's something that all of you can handle without, with care, without rolling. When you finally make your way to the temple, it is not a beautiful, gorgeous, grandiose temple that looks like, Stormwind or something like that. It is carved out of, well, it looks like it was originally carved into a cave, and then the mountain that grew around the cave over the course of years, or maybe with magic, whatever the case may be, was kind of chiseled away. So it looks kind of like, stalagmites, right? Mites up, tights down. So it looks like stalagmites, a large stalagmite kind of growing up with other little stalagmites coming out of it. It is not ornate. As a matter of fact, if someone were to be on, say, like a giant bird flying by, they might even overlook the fact that this was a temple at all, unless there were armies marching to or from it. So you make your way along this trek. It is treacherous. You finally get there. You finally get to the place. And immediately outside the front door, you come across probably one of the biggest concerns that Thonk had this entire time. You come across a few of the guards standing out in front there. Now, out of these guards standing there, there's like a front group. So it's like scouts that are removed from the actual front door itself by like 200 feet or so, sitting there around the campfire. As you guys approach, they get up and they take attention to you, but it's not like and go to attack, because you'd have to be an idiot to just stumble across this place. So they know that you're here with purpose, and they assume with two orcs in the group that you're here with a specific purpose of worship or whatever. So they kind of get up and turn their attention to you, and immediately you're able to see that every one of the four guards that are there are missing one of their eyes. It's not always the same eye. It's not consistent. It's left or right. They're all missing their eyes. But more than that, it doesn't look like they're all missing their eye for the same reason. So like, oh, okay, there's some surgery where they go and just out of every one of the orcs. It's like, no, this one looks like half their face got collapsed in by hitting by a hammer, and so that eye is now missing. This one looks like there was a nasty gash that probably popped the eye out with it. This one looks like it was a horrible burn that boiled away the use of the eye, and so it had to be removed. So all four of them are missing one eye. And as you guys come up to the place, they address you, again, immediately with Thonk's concern, saying, "Hey, what the hell are they doing here?" Pointing at the two non-orcs.
Grumman, like, they with me.
What the hell are they doing here?
I pull Rai aside and I whisper to her,
Four eyes. Oh, man.
They ask, what are they doing here? Or what are we doing there here?
They're asking what are more or less Addo and Rai doing there, but I was just reeling from Bear's glasses joke. Being the only one on the stream that wears glasses and has.
Hey, I wear glasses. I just have contacts.
Oh, look at you.
Joe
I
from
wear
yours.
glasses too.
Oh, shit. Come on! You can't do that.
Man.
No, I was not ready. I was not prepared.
Do that forever.
10 weeks in, he finally got his moment.
Good evening. Thank you very much for
Oh
watching.
my gosh.
It's been great. It's been great.
Gromman's like, he cool. Or she cool. That's all he says.
He does not seem convinced by that.
Slaves.
You say slaves?
Yeah.
And
Grauman
so-
looks at him and looks like confused.
So first they point at the weapons, he just kind of like points at the fact that they have weapons. He's like, slave with
You
weapon?
expect me to have my slaves defenseless in these areas? They couldn't cross myself and Grauman if they tried, even with weapons.
And he seems to be buying it.
Don't
And then
worry.
he's like, okay. And then one of the other ones like kind of like slaps him in the arm. He's like, hey, Mark. And he's like, huh?
Mark.
He's like, Mark, and this is all in Orcish, so the two of you don't understand it. Only two of you do.
Okay.
And he's like, sorry, my apologies. That holding was in Orcish, and we'll continue.
All
To know. And he's like, Mark, and he kind of like stumbles through the word. He's like, Thayin, Mark.
Saiyan, Super Saiyan? What are you trying to say?
And then the other one kind of like gives him a bop in the back of the head. He's like, Thayin, Mark. And then, you guys realize they're talking about like the Red Wizards of Thay, which is a region to the south.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They are known for slave trade, and they generally mark, whoever owns them, or at least whoever's at the top of the chain of ownership, will mark their slaves. And so it's like, oh, yeah. And he kind of like gestures, like show their marks.
We're not Thayans.
And he's like more or less like, duh, because you can clearly tell by your features that you're Theskian. But, he, like gestures to them, like, aren't they Thayan
No.
slaves?
No. They're
Would I,
captured.
would I know what this mark looks like?
A Thayan mark? Well, sadly, you don't understand what they're saying.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. But yes, you would know
Sam
what.
was like, I was gonna pull out some mad skills, but fine.
I was gonna, yeah.
Well, it's funny because actually Maggie specifically does know what they look like fairly well, since she was once at a market that had quite a few of them.
I will,
So-
basically trying to cut to the chase with these guys because I don't want them to question anymore. I just look at them like, you're wasting my time. And I'll pull out the fleshy thing and be like, I have shit to do.
You serve a gug, and they kind of like just like bow back away, And again, a gug being the one that shared the same mentor as you in the faith of Grumsh. So
He shared the same mentor?
not at the same time, but yes.
Okay, gotcha. That's all.
This was a gug, not Glaronk, who is the actual leader of this
Gotcha.
temple. So they both kind of just like back away, like, oh sorry, and just kind of let you by.
As we're walking by, Otto gets a little high-chested and is like, yeah, we deserve to go by. That's right.
When we get out of earshot of these guys,
Well, hold on. As he's walking by doing that, one of them says in common, like looking at him and licking his lips, and says, "Tasty."
Oh, you wouldn't like my flavor.
when we're out of earshot, I'll look to Ryan Otto. You're slaves.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Rye's like, fucking hell no. She's like, you're slaves.
Grauman's like, I don't know what go on.
I nudge right. Oh, come on. It'll be fun. We'll pretend.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Rye for a moment there
Is that
spoke like,
Unc, you might be taking a trip off the cliff.
I stare you down for a minute. It's slaves or you're sacrificed, and I can do nothing to stop it.
Slaves it is.
I nod, and I look forward and continue walking.
so. Just do me
Grauman kind of looks at both of you and shrugs because he's like,
do me a favor. Roll me an insight check since this is your plan there, Mathis.
Sure. Gonna go back to the core character sheet. Insight. 10.
Okay. So you keep on walking your way into the temple. So once you come to the actual temple itself, to the actual doors, there are once again a small group of orcs that are standing outside the doors or sitting outside the doors. They're not like, oh, standing up and not a guard. These aren't like guards outside of the Palace of Buckingham or something like that. So they're just kind of like sitting around, like, oh, we'll kill something if we need to. And they stand up as you guys getting closer, and they are clearly about to start questioning you.
I will have the flesh ready. Yeah,
Kind of
basically.
flopping in the wind. little browning blood
I'm
drop.
desperately trying not to think of it comically, but it just looks so silly in my head.
Yeah. It's just aggravated, like showing a
Yeah.
badge. And so once they like realize what it is that you're doing, like what it is you hold, they as well just kind of like back off and just kind of like knock on the door, like 3 loud raps, and the door opens up from the inside. Now, as the door opens up, you can see in the inside of inside of this temple, it is big and gorgeous. No, it's also looks like shit. So it's an orcish temple to Grumsh, and they worship Grumsh in their way. Now, most of the faiths that you guys are familiar with are you want to build the most beautiful temple and wear the most beautiful clothing and speak the highest of the god possible. That's not practical. Grumsh is, while he loves his worship and he loves people giving him all the attention and rah rah rah, it's all about, is this functioning? Am I going to be able to murder with this? Am I going to be able to murder many with this? And am I going to be able to not get murdered because of this? And so you can see the place is structured very, very well. Thick walls, clearly can take in a barrage. The pillars that are there, which are also not ornate, are held in a good areas to withstand any impacts. But you go into the place not ornate, and you see there's practically nobody around. There's 1 or 2 orcs that are kind of like shuffling by, wearing just basic clothes. Some of them carrying tomes, some of them just carrying like a big weapon and a dumb look on their face. And you see that there are several chambers going to the different areas. Now, this is all old to Thonk. I'm describing it so that you guys can see it, but Thonk has been here many times, and he knows exactly where he needs to go for whatever it is that he wants to do. Now, Thonk actually received his quest from Glaronk. He was instructed along the way to speak to a Gug. What is it that Thonk does? How does he direct the party at this point?
I know I need to speak to a Gug, but my mission is my highest priority. So speaking to the head of the temple will be my main priority.
Mm-hmm. So you make your way over. So you make your way over to speak to Glaronk. You find your way over to the area that he can typically be found in around this time of day. You know, kind of like what his prayers are and everything. You know, this time of day, he would be giving X prayer to Grumsh, and so you make your way over to that area, and you wait a short amount of time until he finishes doing whatever it is that he was doing. Do you bring your 3 companions with you, or do you leave them somewhere along the way, or is there a mix, or how do you do it?
No, I want them near me. Because if they have no, from my understanding, if they have no safety, like to keep in under my guys or Grommen's guys, then they're fair game for whoever thinks they would make great sacrifices.
Okay. So when you make your way over to,
We're gonna get eaten.
or maybe Addo, just kind of break off a leg.
I mean, he is like a plump little halfling.
Yeah.
They're gonna find a spicy surprise if they try anything over here. A little bit of venom.
Oh, look at that. So a little seasoning. So you make your way down to wherever it is he is. You wait the appropriate amount of time. Finally, he comes out, and he sees you when he comes out of this chamber that he's in, and he's a bit surprised to see you. And he's like, "Thunk, you've returned."
I have.
And
We should speak.
success or failure?
We should speak. It's more complicated than just that.
You seem upset. Do you need to pray first?
I pray every day. Let me tell you of what I did before I pray more. I have more prayer.
He nods to that, and he just gestures for you to come back into the chamber that he was just in.
Grommen, watch them. Keep them safe.
He did gesture.
Grommen like looks at them, and he's like confused, but like okay.
I'm gonna give the flesh patch to Rye.
Are you gonna try to do this subtly?
No, I have no reason to do it subtly.
Ray rolls her eyes. Thank you, master.
He
I will treasure this.
Oh my god, that's the greatest.
Otto gets a big kick out of that. He's just stifling laughter.
Grommen is also getting a good kick out of this.
he's watching this happen, he's watching this happen. There's unconvinced and just kind of watches the whole thing fold out. So as you finish giving it to him, and you're just kind of like holding back, it's like one of those moments where you're trying not to be red in the face, but like it's no clearly you can't stop the blood from rushing. So you just kind of like wait till it finishes playing out, and eventually he like stares way too long at the three of them until it kind of like kills the mood, and then he finally turns to you, and you're just kind of like, what's going on? And the two of you go into the chamber together, and the door will shut behind you.
Yep.
So you'll shut the door behind you. When you go into the chamber, you can see that this is a prayer chamber to Grumsh. There are tapestries hanging on the walls. It is a bit ornate. The tapestries hanging on the walls of great battles that orcs have won before. It's kind of beautiful in here with the pictures of the tapestries and everything, but it's not like it's extremely ornate. Once again, the structure of the building itself is still very simple and very effective. That all being said, he walks in with you, the door shuts, and he just kind of goes over to the middle of the room and turns to you. There's nowhere to sit, there's nowhere to kneel, there's nowhere to relax. It's an uncomfortable chamber otherwise. So
No, they're having I just put it up so the viewers can watch. They're having a conversation.
nice. All right, so attention on you. So he turns to you in the middle of the chamber and says, and
A complicated success. It wasn't as simple as I would have liked, but the task is complete. It'll just take a few months to come to fruition.
so tell me the details then. How complicated could it be?
The family at Black Hill. Their son is a traitorous, arrogant bastard who caused more problems than he's worth. I sold him out to a thieves guild from another town, and his family will die because of it. But chaos will run through that city, and the orcs will have their chance to step forward.
Did you save the family at the castle of Black Hill?
Yes, and I'm aware of what they've done for our people, but I'm also aware of what their son thinks of our people.
Are you allowing your ego to get into the way?
No, I'm allowing
Our
the rights of our people to get in the way. The rights of our people and what belongs to us.
Thunk. When was the last time you looked into the history books? There is so much happening off to the west. There's so much happening. You need to study. You need to think on what it is that we can do to conquer. The word conquer means more than just to remove the head of your enemy.
The word conquer does not mean to be a slave to humans. Even
And when you say
Grots.
that, you can see like the rage of he is a powerful orc himself, though easily a decade older than. He's a few decades older than you.
Yeah.
He's much older, but he's still a very powerful orc. When you say that, you can see the flashing of his eyes that can only come from like channeling the power of Grumsh for so many years happen. And he literally just kind of like grabs you by your throat as you speak, like insulting to him, grabs you by your throat and like walks a few steps to slam you up against the wall and says, "You question my faith. Swear to me."
Choking a little bit as he holds me up against the wall. It's not your faith that I question. It's the manner in which you order your faith to be followed.
You want to speak of orders? Then I order this. Head west and learn. Learn from your mistakes, pup. And with that, he just kind of like throws you to the ground.
Yeah.
Just throws you to the ground, slumping on the floor. And he says, "Next time, don't disappoint me." And he turns and walks out of the chamber quickly and slams the door shut behind him to let you have a moment of prayer to Grumsh before you go on. Show your crying eyes in front of your face.
If there's a camera, like you just see rage and like a fist hit the ground, and just he whispers to himself, "The old fool." And he kind of gets up, gathers himself, gains control of his emotions, and leaves.
So you're only in there for maybe an additional minute or two. No, you
Yeah.
don't like stop to actually do a full blown prayer to Grumsh.
Right, no, I do not.
Okay. Then you come walking out of the chamber to see the rest of them, and I'm gonna read this real quick.
Yeah, right? What happened? I'm not-
You don't get to know, Mathis. You don't get to know.
Thonk's getting choked and shit. Like Thonk's getting choked, and meanwhile we're over here like putting this flesh thing in people's face.
Trying to look at all the symbols, like, whoa, what is this thing?
Oh, it's so funny.
And then at the end we're like listening in because I think whenever he's getting choked, we're like hearing all this noise happening.
Yeah.
So I don't
And
know.
so he comes walking out, and as he walks out, and he just like whips the door open. But when he sees the three of you standing there, he's almost startled by it, like he forgot that the three of you were there. And so then he turns back, grabs the door, and slams it really hard shut behind him, with more strength than you would expect from a arguably venerable orc. So he slams the thing shut behind you, saying more or less like you are not welcome to go in there in his action. And storms past any of you. If you happen to be even slightly in his way, you will get bowled over by him, and that includes Grommen. And
Okay.
he just kind of goes down the hallway.
Grauman looks at the other guys and he's like, I think he mad. Bro.
Right under her breath is like, ruh-roh.
Where's Thunk though?
So we're just waiting then, I guess.
Yeah,
for
a
thoughts.
few minutes
Well,
past.
actually, you know what's funny is why don't we? It is 11:15.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think we originally started 15:15, right? So why don't we take that break now while Thonk goes inside and fixes his mascara? And
Why are you making me out to be like this emo bitch? You're just like,
well, you know.
I'm spouting. I'm not crying. I'm spouting off to this asshole.
Listen, you bring down the mood so dark. I have to make people
You-
happy.
Look, you brought us to the Temple of Grummish. It's also your fault as well.
Also,
You
Grauman
guys
wants
do
to peek in and see what's happening in there.
Okay. Well,
After the
why
guy
don't?
slams the door.
Yep. So he slams the door shut and everything. We'll take our break now. When we come
All right.
back, we'll have Grommen be like, "Hello, peekaboo."
See you guys in 5 minutes. We'll be back.